Hey guys, welcome back to a continuation of Défiler en Paris using the commands and colors Napoleonic scenarios. Before I start, I will answer a couple questions that were posted as comments, which I greatly appreciate. And that would include, let's see, let me go here and click this and do that. First of all, such a huge table, doesn't that hurt your back? From Al Mole, and pretty much anything hurts my back, Al. And yes, it is a huge table. It is not that big that I can't reach easily to the center. That's pretty much the max size I would recommend anybody set for a table. If you have to awkwardly reach towards the center, it's too big. You got to fix that. Now, oftentimes I'll go around to the other side, so that also helps. If I have to reach something on this area, I just go to the other side. But as long as you can reach the center from one side, you're usually pretty good. Again, pretty much anything hurts my back. I start out pretty good in the morning. As the day goes on, the back gets fussier and fussier. So there's the back. Then we have Norm says, I enjoyed your table. Thanks for sharing. I'm sitting on the fence about going with 30mm bases, but I'm inclined to do so and have ordered some MDF blanks. There's another vlogger, Leon66, doing the same as you. Yeah, Leon is where I got the idea to break these strips in half. So what am I talking about for those that are unfamiliar with what I've done? Typically they come in strips of 10 like that, and I've physically cut them and separated them and placed them on individual bases so that they're 5 wide. I did that for a number of reasons. I have 4-inch hexes that I want them to conform to, and so I needed to break them in half in order to change formation between line and column, form square. I can make them represent being in an open formation very easily. And they look better when they're bunched up instead of so, I don't know, perfect. They look like teeth on a comb almost. They're so perfect. That breaks up that perfect continuity or symmetry or whatever you want to call it. A little more pleasing to the eye, a little more realistic. I don't know. Realistic, you say, but then they're red and blue. Yeah, I understand. Not painting these guys, not doing it. So then in the MDF bases, I use the bases that came with these fellers, and they're just the plastic bases, and cut those in half as well. So if you have access to MDF bases, I tip my hat. I don't. I guess I could order some. But why order some when I have an overabundance of bases between the ACW and now this Napoleonic stuff? No shortage of bases. You could probably have enough bases to base each individual soldier. And yeah, so Leon66, thanks for showing me that that was doable and worked, and inspired me to do the same. And then Bruce put a lot of thought into this. He says, I don't think you're wasting your time. So at one point during the last video I said something, and maybe I'm wasting my time with this whole endeavor, and Bruce says, I don't think you are. Very interesting to follow the development of your rules, and the command process activating commanders is very interesting to me, as is to me. And this is in fact one of my proudest idiosyncrasies of these rules is the command structure, as well as the combat structure. I'm always looking for a better representation of commanders on the field and their overall effects. Also, activating commanders by die rolls increases the ability for solitaire play. I've used the command color system for ACW and Napoleonic series using a random card draw for the enemy I'm playing against by creating a die roll of basically 2 die 10 with percentages for the card to be used in my solitaire opponent. Using the number and type of cards in the commands and colors deck, there are options within the die roll and result if the opponent cannot perform the action. It works pretty well and allows for a feel of not just playing against myself, and that's a fairly intriguing way of going about it. I may or may not check that out myself, but that's an interesting take. And again, a suggestion about the use of light cavalry on Napoleonic battlefields. Now here's where it gets interesting. brings up a good point. Light cavalry was used extensively during campaigns for scouting, screening, following on defeated enemies, etc., and therefore used sparingly on the battlefield. So in a sense, light cavalry in the Napoleonic Wars is essentially what all cavalry, more or less, was used for in the American Civil War. And he says a suggestion would be either one or two or both optional rules. If a light cavalry unit is ordered to attack or charge an enemy unit, it must take a random test to determine if it will follow the order by rolling one die. If the die is over 3, for example, it meets the test and completes the charge. If not, it does not meet the test. It does not move that turn. That way, a light cavalry has 50% chance to comply with the order. The number 3 is arbitrary and could be changed any number to increase or decrease the chances of charging. This could be a set number for the rules or change based on scenarios. This could be further expanded by scenario. For example, if a specific type or nationality of light cavalry unit does not meet the test, it automatically retires, retreats as specified, or random distance. This could be used, for example, in a Waterloo scenario battle where Dutch cavalry refused to charge and retired and or retreated. Again, more interesting suggestions. I am inclined to not let a die roll determine if light cavalry will or will not attack. And lean more towards light cavalry just not charging, at least frontally, other cavalry, or frontally infantry, obviously infantry in square. So what I'm getting at is light cavalry, I may moving forward allow to strictly charge only against flanks, rear panicked units, routing units, things like that. And then he adds another option could be to score eliminated routed light cavalry units as double flags for the enemy. This would make a player more reluctant to put light cavalry units in jeopardy. Finally, combining the first and second option could be used in the same battle to make it even more interesting. Just some random ideas for optional rules for you to ponder and test if you find them interesting. And he looks forward to my continued rules playthroughs. As always, have fun with the hobby. I will do my best. And thank you for the feedback, Norm, Alan Mole, and Bruce Schmidt. Also, before I get into this, I spent the better part of today procuring wood, brackets, and you can't see it from here, but and I don't want to move the camera because it'll take forever to get the camera back in place. But if you look above the door, there's the front door. Above the door is a little window, and I have a little big shelf up there that the cat can get on, and along the wall are little stairs that she can go up and then go on that shelf. Again, you can't see it from here, but trust me, it looks pretty cool, and if I was a cat, I would want to use it. However, cats being what they are, she will have to explore this on her own terms. It's pretty high up for her. It's not carpeted, so I may need to do that. They like to feel their claws into something to feel safe on it instead of bare wood. But I'm hoping at some point curiosity gets the better of her and she starts using it. We'll see. Otherwise, it's a waste of money and time. Then again, no regrets. I had fun doing it. And I still think she may be inclined to use it at some point. Maybe I'll post a picture of that. Alright, so continuing with turn 1, we have the British turn. And I meant to mark these guys. I think I'm going to pause this and do that. I need to differentiate between light, at least differentiate between light and line and foot and horse artillery before I get all out of whack and forget who's what. So we'll come right back. Alright, good thing I paused that because that was about 10 minutes of time finding the things and marking them. So what I've marked is any light infantry because it's difficult to differentiate the way I have it, at least between line and light. I'll have to maybe work on that moving forward. And then any horse artillery. But I did notice we have some guard grenadier infantry and some grenadier infantry for the British, so we'll keep that in mind as well. Alright, so then that brings us to the command. Let's see. Starting our turn sequence setup and initiative. Again, setup's already done. So now initiative we already did. This is the French won initiative this turn, so now it's the British reply. Rally and command. Do we have anybody routing? I thought we did. No? sure thought we did. Okay. We do not. But, alright, so no rallying, and now we'll roll for command. Again, we start with our commander-in-chief and work our way down the chain of command. So, commander-in-chief, 9 or less, and we roll a 9, 5, 6, 7, 9. So he's got it, which means 1, 2, 3. He is in command because he's within 3 hexes. That's it. So these two guys are in command. Now this 8 next 0 is farther than 3 hexes, so we'll have to roll for him. But rather than roll for him, we'll roll for this 9 that's within 3 hexes of him, because if he's in command, then this commander's automatically in command. So again, 9 or less. 5, 6, 7, we got it. So they're in command. And I'm hoping they'll fail some commands so we can demonstrate how that works. Let's roll for this 8 or less, right? Yes. 6, 7, he's in command, which means he's in command. 1, 2, 3. Is this, depending on what this guy is, will determine if he needs to roll or not. He is a wounded commander, and he will have to roll for command. It's going to be 8 or less, and he got it. So again, everybody rolls their command. If they had not, then anybody unit-wise that was not within command distance of an in-command leader would conduct individual rolls for each unit to determine if they could do anything. So then we go to our fire phase, if I remember correctly. Fire the phase of the fire. Yes, fire phase. So for the fire phase, yes, you'll be firing, but also we have, as the British, just one. Again, it seems like more. Okay, we have 1 unit that's panicked. To recover from panic, he does nothing during the fire phase. He would like to fire, but he's panicked. And if you want to recover from panic, because if you get another panic, you're routing. So we need to do that. So he is done. In fact, we'll mark him. Even though he didn't fire, we'll mark him as having done so. So he knows that he can't move. Alright, now we can just start going down a line here with who needs to fire. We'll start with these guys here. And they will get... They are a line. And they're within range. But they're firing at, unfortunately, so it's going to be tough. Light infantry in open order in the woods. So... I don't feel confident with this. But anyway, we're going to do it. And for British in line, it is +2 for the fire value. They are full strength in line, so that is a 6. Rank bonus is non-existent for a unit in the open. And then, let's see, -1 for the woods. So 5 or less is what we're looking at. They did not get it, as to be expected. Rolled an 8. That brings us to... And if you remember also, all these British units are in line except for the rifles, so if they do want to move in the movement phase, we need to be changing formation in the fire phase instead of firing, so let's bear that in mind as well. In fact, we'll go ahead and do that because we want... Yeah, so we need to change formation. These grenadiers here are going to change to column. And so, if you see me leaning over to do this, I'm also resting on my hand that's on my thigh so I don't blow my back out. They have changed, so now they can move. You know what? They're going to be able to move if they want to, so I'm taking that away. Sorry, I digress. And then these guys are in line, but they have somebody within range, so they're just going to fire. Again, this is a line unit, so +2. Full strength means 4 + 2 is 6. Firing at a unit in column is an 8, but they're on a hill on higher ground. That drops back down to a 7. 7 or less, they rolled an 8. So they're done. British aren't doing so hot with their firing. That brings us to... These guys can't really do anything. Well, we have one strength artillery unit here that's going to fire at some cavalry. So let's do that. And he is foot artillery. So that's going to be +5. Strength of 1, and it makes it 6. Rank bonus for firing at cavalry. That's going to make it 7. Let me start that over because he's lost two strength points. So fire value is 5. +1 is 6. Firing at cavalry is a 7. So it's just 7 or less, which is pretty good actually. And he rolled a 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. So nothing doing there. I think the British need to hit the target firing range and practice target shooting before this turn. Well, what can these guys do? Let's see. Another line unit, +2, not full strength. So that means a 3 and a 2 is a 5. Firing a unit in column is 7 or less. Can we do that? Can we roll? Yes, we can. We rolled a 5. So then we look at our red die, which is a 2. Caused a retreat on this unit here. No big deal. They just pull back 1 hex, or if you're not using hexes, 4 inches. If you're playing this scale, which is roughly 15 millimeter. I do mention that in the rules. If you don't need to have hexes to use these rules, you would just transfer everything to 4 inches. Mark him as fired. Soundtrack in the background is Thin Red Line. You probably can't hear it. Right now it's a stinking commercial. Who else? Lots of... Okay. Let's move here. Another line unit. You guessed it. +2. Full strength in line is 4. Makes 6. Firing at unit column makes 8, but they're on a hill. Drops back down to 7 unless I fire here, which I will. Back up to 8. 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, can you believe this? Like, we're missing so many hits by just 1. And then let's go over to this side because I need to change formation so I can move. Column for these guys. Column for these guys. Yeah, column for these guys. Let me guess, column for these guys? Yes, change to column. Column to these guys. And it's no big issue because they don't have stuff they can fire at anyway, so it's not like they're wasting a chance to fire and knock somebody out. So those guys I'll change to column. These guys are going to want to change to column, for God's sakes. And these guys change to column. Again, because of the way I've handily based these, I can physically do this instead of using markers to represent formations. That is it. Now the ones that are in line and within range of somebody can, you know what, I don't think I fired these 95th rifles. Also, I can't because they'll need to move since they're adjacent to an enemy. Alright, it's in the rules. That brings us to, let's start here. Line unit plus 2. Full strength in line makes 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. Firing at a unit in column makes 8, but they're on a hill, drops down to 7. 7 or less. Rolled an 8. Why does that not surprise me? It does not surprise me in the least. Maybe his brethren can do better. So, same deal. 8 or less. 4, 5, 6. Oh, I'm sorry, 7 or less. Let's roll that up. 6, 7, 8. Can you believe that? This is crazy. The French are getting so darned lucky. I wonder if tonight's an Indian food night. I think it is. I think tonight's an Indian food night. I'm sick of peanut butter and jelly. See, thinking about food. Alright, everybody good? Everybody good? Grenadier Infantry. What do Grenadier Infantry fire at? Still plus 2, but they're better melee than line. So, another 7 or less. Let's roll that up. Ooh, we got 7, and guess what? The red die is a 1, which is the best result we can get. That means we lose a strength point. Don't get ahead of yourself here. So lose a strength point. Mark them as fired. Sheeps and lambs. Mark him as fired. He lost a strength point. He's also panicked. There's no attached commander, so we don't have to worry about a wounded commander. And he has to retreat. He will just fall back to this hex with a commander in it. Bring all this stuff with me. So we finally got a result here on this light infantry. 95th Rifles, we got nothing to fire at. They need to move. That brings us to this foot artillery unit here. 3, 2, 1. That's simply going to be 3, 2. 3 hexes away. Plus 3, full strength means 6. Firing a column means 8. On higher ground means 9. 9 or less. Feel good about this. Roll a 7, we got it. The red die is a 2, which means they retreat. So this unit here, this line unit that has lost a strength point already, falls back 1 hex. You know what? Let's fall back to the hex with the leader. Just because. So he falls back across, back to the other side of the river. Not too shabby there. Mark him as fired. But that puts him out of range. Now these guys have nothing to shoot at here because this cavalry unit is too far to his periphery to fire at, outside of his firing arc, and there's nobody within range. That means I want to switch. Do I want a wheel? How about a wheel? But then I risk exposing the flank. Let's just change to column and move. What do you say? And then the stinking light infantry here. We got 2 left here. Light infantry and square. Watch how this works. Firing a cavalry. Here's how it works. It's going to be 1. Well, it's plus 2. No, it's plus 3 because they're light. Strength-wise, though, there's only one side that firing at the hex, the target hex, so that makes 4. Rank bonus against cavalry firing is only 1, so that makes 5. So 5 or less. Of course we didn't get that. That's roll an 8. could have told you. I probably shouldn't even bother rolling because I knew I wouldn't get that. He has fired. Now that leaves finally these guys here in line. +2, full strength, in line. 4, 5, 6, firing cavalry, 7. 7 or less. Can we do this? We cannot. We rolled a 9. Wow. Some of the worst rolling I've seen in probably in 2022. Probably, since the pandemic started. Is it a post-pandemic era yet? Can we call it that yet? I guess not. We're still in it. That's the fire phase. We didn't do much of anything except push the guy back here. We got a great result here. That was it, right? Am I missing something? No. So now it's the movement phase. And all those guys that switch to column can now do so. Let's take care of that. So that would be this guy, and it's going to be 1 hex for him. Move commander with him. Alright. Everybody happy about that? There we go. This is heavy and light. So heavy, you can move 2. 1, 2. Right here. Light, 1, 2, 3. And put them here. Who else is moving? These guys. These are guard grenadier infantry, so they still move. One. Pull them up 1. A little more time consuming to move twice the number of stands you would normally have, but still worth it. And then these guys move. Lots of moving around. He's moving. Who else is moving? Who is this? Light? 1, 2, 3. Let's move them, swing them around 1, 2. Let's swing them around right here. Which may seem like a waste of time, but we'll see. I don't want to pull them too far forward, and that blocks the path of infantry that need to move. So like say for instance these guys need to pull up. So these guys can pull up. You feel me? Who else? These guys are going to start their path into, well, no, wait. We're going to pull these guys this way so that we can move these guys this way. The river is easily fordable anywhere on these 2 rivers. That one you have to use the invisible bridge. 1, 2. So light infantry. 1, 2. 1, 2. Lots of folks in the river. Cooling down. Cooling off. Move him up. In fact, let's move him. Let's keep him there. Heavy cavalry 2. 1, 2. There. Everybody's happy. Easy enough. Light can move 3. Do not bump the camera behind me. We're going this way. 1, 2, 3 right here. 1, 2, 3. And kind of just block that pathway. I'm going to go back to the other side. No, hold on. 1. Here and here. That's done. Light infantry, 1, 2, not a whole lot of places they can go. We'll say they can go in that half hex there, and then we need to move that's it. Okay, we're done moving. For the love of Pete and repeat. Sitting on a bridge. Pete fell off. Alright, so now we go defensive fire. So here's where the French can really drive a nail in deeper into the coffin of the British. Because they did so poor on their fire phase. I feel like some good things can happen here for the French if they can roll some dice. Light infantry. An open order. French light infantry. +2. An open order. 3, 4, 5, 6. No rank bonus because they're in open. Firing at... I'm sorry. What is the... Let me check and make sure unit strength on open order is what I think it needs to be. Not make you guys wait, so I'll be back. Alright, I think I got it. So he is 4, 5, 6, firing at a unit in line. Is a 1, so 7 or less. Let's fire at this guy here. 7, we got a 7. 7 or less, we rolled a 7, and guess what? The red die is a 1. And major stuff happening here because 1 is the best result you can get. Guess what? This wounded commander is gone and is replaced with the next lowest guy on the rank chart. So he would be replaced with an 8 neg-0. So we need to replace him. They take another hit, so that's a 3 now instead of a 2. Do we have a 3 yet? No. Because I'm using these ASL guys. I need to find a 1 since, here we go. So now they have 3 hits. They need to retreat but can't. So here's another thing to consider. Guess what? He's done. He has to take another hit because he can't retreat. He's done. There's our first flag. And I really wanted a way to represent this on the screen there, but I just, it was getting a little too involved and I just wanted to play and film, so maybe in the future. So replace him with an 8 neg-0, right? Let's find those. Let's pull off this these Russian tanks and these British tanks that I never used for anything. I ordered them to specifications. I ordered them painted. They showed up, looked real good. I haven't used them for anything. Actually need a few more of them. The guy that I got them from, he stopped doing it. I guess he figured it was too much of a hassle. They look great though. Here, I'll bring them over so you can see. An interlude. Here's what I'm talking about. These guys here. You can see the Russian and so they look pretty good. But as I mentioned, I haven't used them for anything yet. Well, eventually. Put them back here. I got more stuff than you can shake a stick at. 8 neg-0, so he dropped down to that. Stays there. And wow, that was cool. So now, that was really awesome. Let's continue, shall we? French line unit is just a +1, and they're in columns, so that's only a 2. Makes 3. Firing at a unit in column would be 5, but they're on higher ground, so it drops down to 4 again. 4 or less, we rolled a 6. He cannot. Brings us here. Line in column is 1, 2, 3. Firing at a unit in line. Is 4 on higher ground is 5 or less. Did not get it. Nothing this artillery unit can do. We have open the order again here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Firing at, let's fire at this artillery. Has a rank bonus of 1, so 6. Can we get 6 or less, please? Nope, we can get a 7 though. I could have knocked that artillery unit out just then if we would have been able to hit it. That brings us here. Line unit and column firing. 1, 2, let's see, they're missing a strength point, and that makes for something weird here. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, we can still do it like that. Firing unit in line is 4, so 4 or less. That's it? 3, 4, no, 5 or less. Can we roll 5 or less? No, we cannot. We have multiple artillery units here with line of sight to that same guy there. Let's try this. 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes away for horse. What is horse at 4 hexes away? It is +1. Full strength though. Oh, he's not. He's still limbered. He needs unlimbered, so I can't do it. Here, foot artillery at 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes away. Is +2, so 2, 3, 4, 5. Firing a unit in line is 6 on higher ground. 7 or less. Got a 7. On the red die is a 2, so that is a retreat. He pulls back. Now, if you remember, I said you can't move if you're in line, but I need to specify that retreats don't count for that. All right, here. Did I already do that? See, now I can't remember because I haven't been marking these. I think I did. And then light infantry is in column, so that's only 2. But +2 because they're light, so that's 4 on higher ground, makes 5. Firing a unit in line makes 6 or less. We rolled an 8. That's great. Another unit in column here. 2, 3, 4. No, that's a line. So 1, 2, 3. Higher ground 4. Target is line, makes 5 or less. Rolled an 8. Out of range, out of range, out of range, and cavalry can't fire. That's it. Nope, that's not it. We have 1, 2, 3. Nope, he's limbered. These guys can fire. 1, 2, 3, 4. What is that? Foot artillery at 4 is +2. Full strength at 3 makes 5. In column, 6, 7. 7 or less. We rolled a 6. Awesome. So the red die is a 3. If we look at our 3, and that is remove a strength point. I need a 1. There's a 1 to show that he is now 3 strength instead of 4. These guys don't have? No, they don't. Anything? 1, 2. Okay. Alright. We got some panic French I need to take care of on their next turn. Whatever. Take this, thank you. So we do have our first victory banner for the French, which I should take and place somewhere, I guess. Place it down here. Alright, what's next? Melee or cavalry charge? Well, these Oh, I meant to move these guys. I forgot. Because they were adjacent and they can't, yeah, so they would pull back. Artillery isn't going to conduct melee, so that's out. Anybody else? If you're in a square, you're not going to conduct melee. You're going to fire, but not melee. So, but you could argue, do the French get to melee simultaneous? It is the melee phase. Do the French get? I would say they do, right? To roll for that and roll for this. Let's go ahead and do it. No. Let me pause and collect my thoughts. I gotta suss this out now. Okay, I'm going with the no. In fact, I may change melee so that it's not simultaneous. So let me note that. But that pretty much concludes turn 1. If you want to call it a turn, I guess you could call it a turn. Yeah, call it a turn. Alright. And as it was the British turn, they didn't have anyone that could conduct melee, because artillery and infantry and square can't do that. So, that's that. Cleanup phase. Let's get rid of these fired markers. I didn't use defensive fire markers this time, which probably should have, just to be sure. It's easy to lose track of who did what if you get distracted. But I'd say, well, I don't know. We'll do it. We'll do a tally here in a second of where we think things stand and in whose favor things are, if anyone. All right, is that? Everybody's happy. The French have some artillery to unlimber. Put these back. So we remember the victory banner for the knocked out British line unit, but we have some strength losses. Let's add them up. For the French, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and for the British, they have 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe the French have a slight edge. Having knocked that unit out pushed them over the edge. Otherwise, it was about even. So that's worked out rather nicely. No real major issues. Just things that I have to lock down. Little loose ends that I need to lock down. I had considered or been conducting melee as a simultaneous thing. I may change that. So that's something to work on. And I think that's about it, really. I didn't have any real issues. And I had a couple more things the last round, but less and less issues as we move along, and that's what we want. So I guess that's it. All right. Again, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, thoughts, daydreams, goals, life aims, feel free to post them, and I'll respond in kind. All right, guys. Short 45 minutes this time. We may keep this going, so we'll see. All right. Take care.